I think the opportunity for any size restorer to compete with anybody is to know the client better. If I understand the client's business better, I can slide in as a partner and make it easier for them to do business with me. Whereas generally speaking, the larger brands are going to have a more difficult time accommodating that individual commercial client.
These larger companies, they have a lot of capital to deploy, so they're only going to make big moves. They're not going to make a little move. Everything they're going to do is big move wise. And then when you look at like the percentage of the market that they would play in, it's actually a small percentage.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing. Like, instead of trying to play their game, go be really good at the areas that they're super weak in.
Most of the big restorers are focused on scale, and scale is all about compliance.
Yep.
It's all about procedure.
It's less about relationships.
Yeah, it's a dance.
Welcome, everybody, to the Albi After Hours Podcast, where we talk about propelling the restoration industry forward. My name is Alex Ditt. I'm your host, and today I am super excited to be in beautiful Florida with the best speaker at the DKI conference, and I hope I don't offend anybody.
Oh, geez.
Chris Nordyke. Dude, you crushed it.
Thanks,
You
dude.
absolutely crushed it. It gave people what they wanted. There was a lot of great speakers there. Like Chris Hill was there. Obviously, I was there.
Yeah.
So me saying that you were better than me, like my ego didn't really like that, but it's the truth.
It was a high quality group.
Yeah. It was a high quality group of people, and so, but
well, I appreciate
man.
you're the kind of guy too that like you took robust notes for me, which I really appreciated.
Of course.
And you know,
reciprocated.
Yeah, what's the phrase? Player recognizes player, or game recognizes game, right? You and I are both on stage a lot, and so I can't help but I come out of these things, and all I have is criticism for myself. It's like, I wish I'd done this better. I wish I'd done that better.
It's great. You polish it up. You know, that's the way to grow.
But it's fun. I can tell you have fun at it too.
Yeah, I love it. So let's dive into the meat and potatoes. You're speaking today, and there was something interesting that you brought up at your speech that I'd like to start the conversation with. And you said something along the lines of, obviously there's a big fear of all these smaller restoration companies. They're like, what's going on? There's a bunch of consolidation coming in. PE groups are coming in and buying all these companies.
Yeah.
And you kind of inspired the room to fear not that. And you're like, hey, like your message was something along the lines of, hey, like I worked for a big company. In fact, the largest company in restoration, and they're too big to be able to squash your competitive advantage as a smaller restoration shop. And I think the world needs to hear that. So like, what did you mean by that? Do you genuinely think there's like not much of a threat to the mom and pop restore? Let's just say the $5 to $15 million a year restoration contractor that doesn't want to sell to PE. Are they going to go out of business because, you know, the big boys are coming in town and scooping up? Or are they going to survive?
Well, there's obviously no pat answer, because some of the small guys will get crushed because they're just not paying attention. They're not trying to differentiate. They're not trying to position themselves differently, right? So it's all about positioning ourselves differently, telling a different story. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of times, and myself included, like I used to compete against all the big boys. You know, when Rand and I were coming up through the industry, we were a small, independent, regional restoration company. We didn't have the capacity, the wherewithal, certainly the brand presence that the big Serve Pro teams have, or the Belfours, Blue Skies, BMSs, and so forth. But what we did find is that we could generally move faster. We could make exceptions to rules more easily. And I think we were more in touch with the ground level relationships happening in our market. And that was probably the biggest deal, is that with these large companies, and there's exceptions to every rule. In fact, I think most of these really large companies operating in an industry, it's very regional in the sense of the leadership, the cultures. There's a lot of fiefdoms, kind of makes it sound negative, but there's just like regionally, there's a lot of differences with all these big players. But generally speaking, it's their national sales teams that are taking full advantage of the network effect. You know, they're going to carriers, they're going to portfolios of real estate and property management, and they're saying, hey, look at our coverage, our footprint, let us manage all your stuff. But then most of the time, in my experience, there's very little attention to the local ground level relationships. And so I gave the example during today's class where Brandon and I, when we were working with one of these big companies, we audited those national accounts in our region. And we were shocked to find that the vast majority of our revenue on these national accounts was going to a small chuck in a truck, single operator with a part-time guy.
Wow. And how much was that of revenue?
Like over $1 million.
Wow.
Of our national account revenue, right?
Wow.
That was a huge eye-opener for us. And ever since then, I've been really careful to preach that to sales reps and restoration owners, because all of us get intimidated, I think, by the big players in our space, you know, and it's easy for us to recoil and lose track of the competitive advantages that we still have.
Yeah.
And so I think that's part of it, is we're able to really own the local relationships. Whereas I think a lot of the big restorers struggle to push down those national account relationships all the way to the front lines with the people that actually pick up the phone and call.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I refer to it as the backup seat strategy. You know, I coach our sales reps. I'm like, look, if you walk into an account and they say, oh, we have a national account with so-and-so, I've trained them to think, okay, that's great. A lot of my clients have a national account with so-and-so, but every great operator needs a backup vendor. Like you have more than one plumber you work with, right? You have more than one, right, roofer that you've worked with.
And the thing also in the presentation that I think you said was, you also pointed out, well, how are they showing up on the relationship level, right? Like we found that most of our companies that we work with that have a national account feel like their relationship with corporate isn't as best, and they don't necessarily always show down and stuff like that. Do you believe that's the case, or are you pretty happy with it?
Yeah. The words I like to use are, I'm getting afternoon syndrome here, is what do you like about their people and their process?
Ooh.
So rather than shy away from big name national account, intimidating, right? They have a lot of money to throw at things. Instead, when I encounter them, I say, oh, okay, well, listen, Mr. Regional Portfolio Manager, Maintenance Manager, Chief Engineer, listen, national account or not, I know you wouldn't continue using a bad vendor just because of a so-called national account. So it's very assumptive. What do you like about their people and process?
And the two blanks are also their biggest weakness.
Oh, man.
So it's kind of like a rhetorical question. The people and the process is the least amount of perceived value on that person's end, right?
It's exactly right. And oftentimes the response that sales reps get when they ask this question is they get the response of either blank stare or, I really don't know. They've just been okay. And then as a sales rep that not only do you have opportunity, but it's likely the project manager that they like. Like that's the most common thing is when I ask that people or process, either one they'll default to, oh, Joe's the best. Because that company, one good thing they're doing is they're putting the same project manager on all the jobs for that client. That's actually a smart strategy for you. So for you big operators, and if you're one of these companies that's got their consolidating and going after sort of network effect to sell and grow, right? I would suggest that can be a really awesome retention strategy is to assign PMs that work specific accounts. And obviously you have to make exceptions. You got to adapt, but it is a real felt value. But most often when I ask that question, well, what do you like about their people, their process? Because I know even if you have a national account, you wouldn't use a bad vendor. What's so great about that is it forces them to think about, do we like working with this client? Because most of the time it's just a vendor of convenience, right? With these national accounts, they got an email from somebody. All of a sudden that vendor is now in Compliance Deep or whatever, and they're permitted to use them. And it was really that simple. There was no more compliance or mandate that they had to use that company. It was just they got an email, they used them a couple times, it was okay. And so when me coming in with the backup seat, I'm now all of a sudden presenting them an alternative that is as good or potentially better depending on what they tell me, right? Because if they tell me, oh, really we're not crazy about anything about them, right? Well,
then you do discovery, find out what their pain points.
What do you think could be better about their people and process? Oh my gosh, well, it's like we never know what the heck's going on. And then they start complaining about various pain points. And then we have an opportunity to contrast with, hey, I get it, really common. We're not perfect either. But let me tell you about a system we've deployed to.
Interesting.
Anyway.
Yeah, so you have three options when you're faced to the national vendor scenario. It's like, one, you could do what you said, ask them, what do you think about the people in the process? Slam dunk. I think that's genius. Two, is you can shy away. Or three, as you could do what some people do, is just shit on your competitors, and then you just look bad.
That's exactly right. There's really only one right thing to do, and that's just beat them with professionalism. That's what we're really talking about, right? Is we're talking about selling with a consultative sales style versus a features and benefits sales style. Most of the time, most restorers are coming in with, look how big we are. Yep. Look at our footprint. Yep. Look at the size of our fleet. We do document preservation, features and benefits.
Yep. Interesting. Yeah. And the other thing that I know and the little restorer needs to understand is, like, these larger companies, like, they have a lot of capital to deploy, so they're only going to make big moves. They're not going to make little moves, right? So, like, a little move would be an example of deploy route marketers to build these hyper-local relationships, versus the big move is, let's just go get Allstate to refer us all the work, right? So everything they're going to do is big move-wise. And then when you look at, like, the percentage of the market that they would play in, it's actually a small percentage. Yeah. Like, currently, the entire managed repair market is only like 18 to 25% of claims at best. Yeah. So that's like 1 out of 4 or 1 out of 5 claims. Let's just say they completely dominate that. They're only dominating 1 out of 4 to 5 claims. The other 3 to 4 of them are fair game for the restorer that understands the hyperlocal relationships.
Agreed.
And I think that's the thing. Like, instead of trying to play their game, sorry, I was swatting some flies here, these no-see-ums. But instead of trying to play their game, like, go be really good at the areas that they're super weak in.
I think the opportunity for any size restorer to compete with anybody is to know the client better. If I understand the client's business better, I can slide in as a partner and make it easier for them to do business with me. Whereas generally speaking, the larger brands are going to have a more difficult time accommodating that individual commercial client because of scale, because of compliance and everything else. It's going to be more difficult for that frontline person who's managing the relationship to accommodate the preferences of that client as well as a smaller company can, or just a company that's more oriented around that. How do we optimize our process and our experience for the client? Most of the big restorers are focused on scale, and scale is all about compliance. It's all about procedure.
It's less about relationships.
Yeah, it's a dance. And the truly great companies are the ones that can thread that needle. Right? They can achieve scale and gain compliance, systemize their business, and build in room for the flexibility to make the customer experience differentiated.
Interesting.
Right?
So I want to dive into some of your frameworks that you presented, because I want everybody here watching the Albi After Hours podcast to get those frameworks. But before that, I think we should talk about a little bit about your upbringing and why you know so much about restoration sales. Did you start out in the restoration industry? Did you start out in some other industry? What's the story there, man?
Well, so sales for me started selling knives.
Oh,
for Cutco? Yeah, Cutco knives.
Nice.
I still got a kitchen full of Cutco.
Wow.
And that was where I learned about sales. Like, I didn't really have any concept of it before then. And, of course, that was product sales, and it was full-on features and benefits selling. So it's not the type of sales I do now, but that was what really clued me into, wow, people get paid to talk.
Yeah.
Wow, how cool is this? Right? But no, my real, I guess, entry point into service sales was Cintas.
Oh, okay.
Cintas has an incredible sales training. I don't know if that still exists today. I still routinely encourage our clients when they're hunting for salespeople to snipe from Cintas, because they sell contracts, they sell long-term agreements. It's all pain solution selling. They call it requirements-based selling, but it was fun. It was exciting. All I did was just go talk to food processing plants and auto mechanic shops that were buying uniform services, and I would pick apart the service they were getting. I had really great discovery questions. I'd uncover if they were paying for things they weren't receiving, all these various types of pain points.
Smart.
And it just stuck with me. And so then when I ultimately left and I got an insurance, I would utilize the same kind of consultative selling methodologies to sell life insurance and to sell business insurance.
Oh, and so you were an insurance agent.
To build my insurance agency.
Wow.
Yeah, I was a State Farm agent.
Nice. So you had restorers calling on you all the time.
Yeah, it was interesting. It's funny to think back actually, because I was largely, well, and this also helped form my view of the candy and smiles sort of thing that our industry historically
They'd come by
has done.
and bring you donuts and
and
mugs
and I can relate to the fact that as an agent, what was my thinking when I would have Serve Pro, Service Master, and everybody else coming in my office all the time? What I was thinking as an agent was, I'm paying these people to write apps and service my clients. I am not paying them to jaw jack with this college age kid that's coming in here filling candy jars. Yeah. Like I remember feeling kind of that pessimistic frustration.
Yeah, it's a nuisance. It's a distraction to your business.
Well, not only that, but then so I carried that experience into restoration. So immediately started seeing kind of when I kind of arrived on the ground in my first restoration gig. It was actually first as a consultant. I thought, wow, this is a weird environment. There's really no concrete closing process that most people are using here. It's just kind of this wait and see, make a friend, kind of approach. And then when I got into the industry more, and I started to talk with agency owners again, like I was the guy who was meeting with our top agency referral partners. And I had one experience, man, I'll never forget it, where I met with this guy. He owned 3 independent agencies, and I normally have a lunch with him once a quarter. I just say, hey, what are you hearing from your people? How's your experience been with our team? What feedback are you getting with clients? And he stopped me right in the beginning of kind of my intro conversation and said, I hope I'm not off mic here. Let's fix that. He stopped me and said, Chris, can I just be honest with you? I'm really gosh dang tired, except to use different words, with all of these restoration reps coming in and taking my people's time. He said, do you have any idea how much payroll I'm running every hour that my agencies are open?
Wow.
Like thousands and thousands of dollars a day in payroll across my team. And he said, these reps come in and just belly up to my people's desk, bothering them, sometimes producers, not service people, but people that I want them writing and selling apps. And so interactions like that, and then coming into the industry, coming from this consultative selling approach, both of those things kind of came together and said, hey, we really have to flip this whole industry approach on its head. Like we need to be more mindful of how we're treating our clients, right? Like when it comes to referral partners, like insurance agencies and plumbers, most of us are just going and interrupting those businesses, not really considering them. We're just interrupting them, and it's super unprofessional, and they all see it that way. And most of us just bury our head in the sand, and we just keep doing it because the phone still rings, and so we think it works, right? When in reality, what works is uncovering the fact that they're irritated and frustrated by that, and then finding a way
to make up for it,
to shift our behavior and actually solve pain points for them and or their policyholders.
Interesting. So I think we brushed upon, so you went an insurance agent to that consulting gig for a restoration company. Then what'd you do? Like you worked in restoration
So I left
companies?
and actually did some consulting in tech for a while. Actually, interestingly enough, one of my biggest assignments was helping a Braille printer company for blind people.
Interesting. Interesting.
It was very interesting, actually. I went to some blind trade shows, interacted with a whole bunch of blind veterans and things of that sort. It was fascinating. And then I got a call. So I finished that engagement and a couple other consulting projects I was doing, and I got a call back from that first restoration consulting job, and they said, hey, we've doubled in size since you left. Is there any way that you would consider coming on as an employee? And I'd been self-employed at that point for about 10 years.
Wow.
And we'd love to have you as our VP of sales. And I really liked the team, and so I agreed to it and came on, and that really started my what now has been
a big company, 10, small company?
Now they're pushing 20 plus million, but at the time when I got there, it was 3.5.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you moved on from there. At some point, you worked at Belfour or no?
Yeah, I got headhunted by Belfour.
Yeah. Nice.
And an incredible experience, man. What a behemoth.
Cool. Is that where you met your partner, or was it their first restoration company?
No, the first one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you two decided to go move on and start a consulting.
So I left first.
Business. Got it.
I started an executive coaching business.
Got it.
Working exclusively with restoration company owners.
Mm-hmm.
And I just on a chat, we just were getting into a really operational heavy, into the weeds, you know, and I called Brandon. I was like, hey, do you want to just join me on this just for fun? Just for kicks.
And what do you say?
and he's like, sure, whatever. And so we meet, but at the end of the call, the client was like, hey, we really want to work with both you guys. Is there any way, like, would you guys be willing? And we said, hey, well, we'll talk about it. And we got off the phone. We said, gosh, I think this may mean we're going into business together. And
you guys, like, sometimes it's hard to distinguish the two of you because your personalities are very similar. You guys seem like brothers, to be honest, but you're not related at all.
We've had so many people tell us that. Yeah, it's wild.
Man.
And we both have the mustache thing going on. So, yeah.
Interesting. Man, these no-see-ums. You feel them or no? They're like biting me up.
I don't know. It's funny. Like, my wife gets eaten up by them and I don't. So I've got the magic gene, I guess.
So. Cool. So interesting. Good to know the story. I think bits and pieces, it's the first time I'm hearing it. So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
So let's go back into framework. So, okay. So we have this fundamental problem. We as restorers need to differentiate ourselves against the big behemoths. And the way we do that is with these hyper-local relationships, which require us to go in and be a nuisance to these hyper-local people. Yeah. But we don't want to be a nuisance. So how do we do that? Any frameworks or anything you'd like to share there?
Yeah.
What every framework, what every restorer could do?
Well, I think part of what drives a value-added relationship versus you being that annoying sales rep or candy and smiles person is that as much as possible, we frame our follow-up with that client and our ongoing conversations based on the pain that we've discovered in the relationship.
So you're following up as part of the process, and the process is to solve their pain, not for you to get revenue. And you're getting the leads kind of like as a byproduct of you having this mentorship kind of relationship with them.
Yeah, so here's a really common example. So today we talked about the pain-seeking question. And the pain-seeking question for your listeners are just it's this idea of quickly getting to a business conversation that the client can relate to and holds value for them, right? And oftentimes we spend the vast majority of our drop-ins and visits as sales reps in this business doing soccer mom and soccer dad chat, right? We're trying to make a friend, not realizing that most operational leaders are not looking for friends. And the fact that they're nice to us or polite to us, or they'll even tell us after a long soccer mom, soccer dad chat, so, hey, yeah, we'd love to do work for you. And the prospect says, oh, yeah, we'll give you a try. What we learn over time is that's a really polite or a more polite way of just getting us out of their business.
Yep. And then you're sitting thinking you have 400 people that are going to refer you something. And
you go back.
Lies.
You go back to your weekly sales meeting and you're telling your team and your sales manager.
They're going to refer us on the next one.
Oh my gosh, I was great. Yes, new property management company's coming online. You know, it's like, well, no, probably not. Almost certainly not. But one of the things we teach people is, look, if they are, there's a reason. So I learned to ask the question of my sales reps, and they'd be like, oh my gosh, this new why? Why are they going to start sending us work?
Well, because she liked me.
Of course.
And it's like, okay, you didn't. Yeah,
exactly.
Makes sense.
So I think we were talking about frameworks. It's all about. I lost my train of thought. It's all about knowing the client and building our follow-up based on the pain and felt needs that they give us. So an example of this that I use in the pain-seeking question is communication frequency. Probably the far and away biggest pain point in our industry. And not just in our industry, but for people working with roofers, all of the trades. Most common problem that we don't communicate enough or we don't communicate clearly, right? And so the verbiage that I often heard from clients as I was coming up the industry is, we never know what the hell's going on. Like when I'm talking to a property manager, we never know what the hell's going on when we have a project on site. But yet our owner client is texting me, breathing down my neck. When's that unit going to be, when's the tenant going to be back in the unit? When are rents going to restart? All of these questions. And the worst thing possible is when a property manager doesn't have answers for their owner client, right? So, our go-to for that, what is the answer to communication frequency? Well, it's not cheerleader responses like, oh, well, communication is one of our company values.
It's here's the tactical way. Like our project manager gives 24-hour updates via group text to whomever.
Here's the person, the role, the process, or the system that we've deployed to solve for that. And oh, by the way, we're not perfect.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, I'm not trying to say we've solved this, we've cracked this code. No. Hey, we're not perfect either. We're a people business like you, but we have this system, process, or person on our team that solves for this. Let me explain it to you. And when we explain things in concrete terms, it does two things. One, it makes us more believable because business people understand the value of systems.
Yep.
Because if they don't have any, their business is chaos. And when they do have systems, it works and it benefits their business. Right, so it's a language that business owners believe. Number two, it gives us a basis for our follow-up.
Interesting.
And that's one of the biggest questions I get from sales reps is, I don't want to be the annoying sales rep that's just always constantly dropping off cookie bags and mini Snickers and
So
mugs.
what does that follow-up look like?
So an example of the follow-up, so when somebody has the communication frequency pain, we never know what the hell's going on.
Yep.
My go-to, like our Floodlight standard, is the 24-hour job update. We're of the belief it's compulsory. If you're going to do commercial and you want to be the best and you want to get referrals, you want to grow, your project managers have to do 24-hour job updates Monday through Friday. Okay. So that is our system or our standard in response to that. And so the follow-on behavior is once I get out of that conversation, creates a great rich dialogue, establishes a felt need with a customer. Oh yeah, we struggle with that. We get really frustrated with contractors. So then in my subsequent visits, what am I going to do? Or what do I have the opportunity to do? Well, one of them is to watch my Google reviews. If I get a Google review or I get a testimonial or one of our PMs does from a property manager and they mention communication, they mention the 24-hour update, I'm capturing that. I'm printing it. And I'm going to stick it in my bag. And the next time I'm in market in that area, I'm going to text my client or LinkedIn them or send an email. Hey, I want to swing by and show you something from our last conversation. And then I'm able to take advantage of the social proof of I'm showing them a 24-hour update that one of my PMs actually did. And very likely has the URL of another fellow property manager. So I have the social proof going for me as well. And I'm showing them a real life example of what the service experience is going to look like with my company. Right? And that's just a touch. It's a quick drop off that affirms the conversation we had previously. And then I switch gears on that, but like a Google review is good for that, but also just printing off a real example of an emailed 24-hour update that we're doing for an existing client. Yeah, pulling that out of Albiware, right? And their client notes.
Of course.
Right? Printing it out and going.
Smart. So now it becomes more of a I'm following up to help you versus I'm following up. Like I hate that when my sales reps are like, hey there, just following up.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you're not just following up.
And nobody wants you to follow up.
Yeah, exactly. That's like, a nuisance.
That operational leader, especially if you haven't got into a pain-seeking conversation, you haven't touched on anything that gives them an emotional or visceral reaction about a past experience, they don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just like the harsh reality that I had to learn is me just dropping in to talk about a restoration company and our scope of work and how big our fleet is. Like,
nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Nobody wants to talk about that until they have a live damage event. And then if you luck out because you're on a cold call, awesome. Then they do care. But most of the time they don't, unless I can get them connected to a past experience or a recurring experience that's problematic.
Smart.
Here's one other thing too, is that when I take that approach and I'm intentional about those pain-seeking conversations, it allows me to pivot and create another layer of value in subsequent visits and interactions. And that is, I can say, hey, last time we talked about your experience with the restoration company you've used in the past and how you never knew what the hell was going on. Hey, so forget about restoration for a moment. Any other areas of your business right now? Any other vendor categories that you guys are struggling with right now?
Oh, I need a drain cleaner or whatever. All right, I got Bobby the drain cleaner.
And and a lot of times the clients will look at me cross-eyed, especially early in the relationship, be like, why are you asking me? You know, what's the angle?
Yeah.
Right. And I would just qualify it. I would say, well, look, we're a restoration company. It's a unique trade. We have a deep list of specialty contractors, suppliers, and vendors that we work with that in many cases we vetted, we worked with over time. So I'm just thinking, if you guys need like exterior building wash, well, as an example, I have some senior living clients that needed that.
Yep.
We have some clients
Super
I can refer
smart.
you to, right?
Yeah.
And the moment I'm able to solve a now problem, it builds, it's a deposit in that love account.
Yeah.
Right? They're more likely to call me. And of course, if I'm diligent about creating that kind of interaction, not just with a portfolio manager or a national vendor manager or somebody that we're quick to go to the executive, but if I'm also building that kind of meaningful interaction with that on-site maintenance manager or the chief engineer at that single hotel, those are the people that are going to pick up their phone.
Yep.
And they're going to call.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, this gives me some flashbacks. Like I would get super creative. I had residents in, and the lead janitor or whatever, I go in on a call, lead maintenance guy or whatever, chief engineer, whatever they're called.
Yeah.
And he had a light pole that fell and hit the building and just broke a building. Not much restoration or anything needed, but that was like he called all the light companies and all the light companies were busy or whatever. Yeah. I was like, dang, he really needs this park. It was, taking up half his parking lot or whatever. Yeah. So I used my tree removal buddy to come in with the crane, and I used an electrician buddy to come in, and we got creative to solve that problem for him, and then we were in the door. And then we leveraged the ability of us being small and creativity. Like whenever they had pools, we didn't necessarily drain the pool because they would have the headache of draining the pool, bringing it back up. It's expensive, but it also takes days to get the pool company out and stuff like that. Yeah. So we built like a platform over the pool. We put plastic, and then we built a platform with 2x12s, and then put plywood, and then worked on the ceiling above, and then took the platform down. Yeah. So there's all kinds of ways that I think you could flex that creativity. Yeah. And we won some awesome accounts. And in fact, we pissed off our local blue sky because we took, Chicagoland Housing Authority lost based on the same thing because people knew that we would always get creative in solving their pain points. So
that's such a great example, man. Yeah. But again, all of that is really predicated on this mindset of how do I understand my client better? Yep. How do I understand what stresses them out? Yep. What makes their business difficult? How they make money? Yep. Right? How they lose money? Yeah. Right? What causes turnover in their bit? Like all of that stuff.
How they get promoted too, because these are complicated organizations where if somebody does really well, they can get promoted to the next rung.
Yeah, the simple question, like I've heard some PMs are really great and diligent about asking this, how do I make you look good? Mm-hmm. In the course of this timeline we have in front of us, in terms of me giving you the kind of information that is good for you, is useful for you, how do I make you look good? Yep. How do I help you get promoted at the end of this thing?
Because that brings you onto my side. Now it's me and you versus corporate management.
And I'm also telling them with that verbiage, hey, if anything goes sideways for you,
I got your
come to me first, and I will help you troubleshoot and work around it.
Smart.
Rather than them going to a superior and be like, hey, we have a snafu. I want them coming to me so I can problem solve what's the circumstances and how do I end up making them look awesome? Yeah. Because in the end, it's going to make huge loyalty for me.
Yeah. And the other thing is like all of these frontline decision makers, even though there's national accounts, these guys screw up quite often. Oh. And you could be like their their go-to person on the oh crap moments.
Oh yeah.
And you build up the relationship that way, and it's like, yep, I get it, you tried to do this and this broke and it caused this, let me help you. And then you build that relationship where you're there for their job security and they bring you in despite there being some sort of national account. And in general, like I found like insurance agents, for example, will side with small local businesses over corporate, despite corporate having the 1-800 line, approach. Property managers will typically, in these large organizations, will typically side with the local, provider versus, the conglomerate. So,
yeah.
But do you, and maybe this is a far-fetched ask, but do you, well, at least bare minimum, have those diagrams that you shared today that you can send over to us so we can share it with all of our viewers? Yeah. But I wonder, this is a lot of information to digest. Do you have any like intro level course or playbook or ebook you'd be willing to share with our audience?
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things I would recommend is that pain-seeking question.
Okay.
And I've got a great know-how for that.
Cool.
And so we can link to that in the show notes.
Yeah, let's throw the link. Yeah, no gated or whatever.
Yeah,
We'll throw the link and they
awesome.
can go to it. Yeah.
And it's me taking through a role play. I do a live video-based role play.
Perfect.
And so then your team can practice
That'd
it.
be great.
You can build that role play into your team meetings.
Yeah.
So I think the PSQ is a great place to start because it instigates the right relationship with that prospect. That's the whole thing. It gives you a turnkey way, and you can just memorize it. You can just literally, you don't have to be fancy like me or a wordsmith. You just have to memorize that question and the response, and it starts the right kind of dialogue.
Smart.
Somebody doesn't have to become a pro B2B sales rep, a consultative seller.
Yep.
You will become a consultative seller if you practice and get reps in on that pain-seeking question.
That is so great. Awesome. Well, I'm grateful for you sharing it with our team, and we'll get it out. If somebody wants to work with you on a deeper level, because they saw this podcast, they heard it, they love it, how can they find you?
Well, I mean, everything that we've been talking about is just really part of the ethos. Like, this is the Floodlight way. This is what, in aggregate, Brandon and I coming up in the industry, and then the aggregate wisdom of our team of consultants, because all of our consultants are past owners. And so they've all sat in like your audience's seat.
Nice.
And so certainly people can buy our commercial sales master course. That's a 14-hour digital learning management system. It's a great onboarding tool for salespeople, blah, blah, blah. We can link to that as well.
How much is that?
So $2,500. Okay. Permanent license. And so there's that, but really it's partner with a Floodlight consultant. This is the stuff that we equip our stores and their teams with to shift the way they're approaching their business. And of course we help them with all the other nuts and bolts. We get into the weeds with them. And we like to think about it as we're like a business partner that has already been and done what they've done without giving up equity. Right. So it's like if you could have a battle buddy that's already walked through most of the paces that you're intending to walk through. Right. And this area of sales and some of these frameworks we've been talking about is just, it's part of that work.
Super smart. Nice. Yeah. Well, great, man. Anything that I should have asked that I didn't ask?
I think, and this could almost be its own show, but I think one thing that we sort of danced around but didn't tackle directly head on is, what is the ideal sales rep for this business?
So I like the idea of its own show.
I think it could be its own show.
You're coming to Nashville.
That's right. Should we do a follow-up and talk about the
Let's do that.
The ideal sales rep profile?
Okay, but let's tease it a bit. So I mean, in 2 minutes, and then we'll unpack it in the whole show. How do you hire and build a world-class team? But let's tease it a bit. What is that? Because I had success, for example, hiring people from Abra or like the auto glass places where they were used to selling to agents as is, and then you're like, hey, come sell restoration instead of selling auto glass or auto collision, and that seemed to work well. You mentioned Cintas.
Cintas is great. Cintas. Enterprise Rent-A-Car has great sales and management training internally.
About that.
Those people tend to be pretty entrepreneurial that come out of Enterprise.
Because they sell to agents also.
Yep.
Because the agents call them out for the car rentals.
And they just have a really robust internal training platform.
Interesting. Okay.
The other one too is College Pro.
Really?
Painters.
What's that?
College Pro and College Works.
Ooh.
Both of those.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you got to talk to Matt Balducci, who runs our Evolve program. I think he was in training. He was in corporate, I think, there. I might be wrong.
Cintas Vector guys. Yeah. I mean, excuse me, Cutco.
Vector
Marketing.
Our head of our BDR, our sales development representative manager, Dylan, came from Cutco. So,
here's the common thread. This is why this is kind of part of that ideal sales rep profile. If they've succeeded in those environments, they've likely overcome call reluctance. They've overcome call reluctance.
Yeah.
The vast majority of sales reps that I see in our industry are account managers. They're not sales reps. In many ways, it's the difference between marketing and sales. We tend to use those terms interchangeably, and they're very, very different. Right? And so when it comes to that ideal sales rep profile, in my opinion, we need to separate out these roles of account manager, which is retaining and deepening and cross-selling, and hunters, which are opening doors and making the phone ring.
So do you see those as two separate roles, or do you see that you start as a hunter?
It's very rare that you get somebody that is a hunter that can adequately fill that account executive role. Ooh. Very, very hard to do that.
So are you saying that the ideal, and okay, we're going to reserve the next episode for that, and comment below actually if you guys have interest in this, just so we gauge it. But do you see that the ideal restoration sales organization is kind of like my software organization, where you have the SDRs that are booking opportunities and for the account executives, and the account executives are going in there and doing the presentations and managing the relationship?
I think it's going to get to that, but I think hunters right now, it's still a very analog business.
Yeah.
Whereas we're not doing inside lead gen, you know, like we might do with digital tools.
Ooh, what'd you think of that, by the way, when I dropped that? Did you hear it or no?
It's incredible.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's an emerging opportunity, and as an industry, we're learning how to exploit those tools.
Yeah. So to paint some color for the listeners, I have this whole thesis that we're actively trying where you can use social media ads to basically target property managers, plumbers, insurance agents, bring them in with a piece of gated content. So call it come in for my CE hour class, or, you know, get this webinar on how to solve your claims issues or whatever. And you deliver straight to the pain points. Then you attract the people that have the pain points. You give them value in a digital setting, and you're attracting them versus distracting them. And then I think it'd be checkmate from there.
I think what that is that's really like version 2.0 or 3.0 of the CE lunches of old.
Yes.
Right? It's like, how do I bundle asynchronous, digestible content that's truly value added for these referral partner segments? And I think there's just so much opportunity.
Or like Violan taught us to do these fun fast facts about some pump failures, and like it was old school, like print that off and send. Well, why? Just email them or whatever. So at Albi, we're actually building a marketing suite. And short term, it's going to be more on the direct to consumer front, where it's Google ads primarily. But middle term, so 12 to 18 months, we're going to unlock some pretty cool tools to give the restorers the ability to target all of the information that they already have in the CRM and target them with ads and stuff like that. And think of it like a HubSpot Marketing Pro for restorers. And I think that will then start the dialogue, because HubSpot started the inbound dialogue for every other industry. I think at Albi, we're going to be able to start the inbound dialogue for restoration, which is exciting. So,
but I think it's hunters and farmers. Farmers are account executives that retain and deepen relationship.
Well, I wonder if you would have, so like at you know, the way I see it is in SaaS, it's SDR, AE, CSM. So I wonder if your farmers are your CSMs, because your CSMs in SaaS are typically responsible for upsell and cross-sell and retention. And then you do a full cycle SDR, AE role. So full cycle SDR, AE role is getting people through the ERP up into an assigned MSA maybe. And then you hand it over to a CSM that then manages the relationships moving forward.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
I think the role that's emerging for actual restoration companies is the ability to do that inside, that lead gen internally, outbound calling, right? Various ways.
That's huge too.
But right now, I'm convinced that right now still, hunters need to be face-to-face out in market, developing a presence inside the market. And then it's a different skill set to maintain and deepen, cross-sell, and maximize that client account. But I think actually still the hunter has a role to play. So to me, it's a team sport.
Oh, yeah. Just like, you know, in software, account executives and customer success managers are tied at the hip. And I know for the typical restorer, we're geeking out a little bit here.
Yes.
But I think I get what you're putting down. I think there's an interesting way we could together. First of all, we have to do that other episode, because this opened up another Pandora's box. So we'll do a part 2, just like we did the part 2 on head, hearts, and boots.
I would end. Let me end on like a little bit of a grenade. I think far too many restorers hire far too many sales reps from other restoration companies.
Yes. Thank you.
And it's taken me a while to come to this. You know, but I've seen so many examples. I've heard other people affectionately refer to it as retreads.
Yeah.
And listen, there's some great people that are just looking for a better culture,
Yep.
a healthier environment, a better team.
But we're just copying the same playbooks over and over. And insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results.
It's true. And I think regardless of what a person's motivation is for leaving their past company and coming to yours, whether it's money or it's better culture, or they were difficult to work with, right, it's more often than not, it's really hard to retrain them to new behaviors.
Yep.
You know, and I think we delude ourselves to think that they're going to bring all of this business over.
Exactly. Because I would assume that they're the reason why that business happened, it's not the rest of the organization.
It's always the case.
You see that? I find that funny on the Albi side when people end up hiring Albi employees because they feel like, hey, I took the Albi employee and now I got the Holy Grail. Yeah. And here's the truth. Dash could probably hire me tomorrow.
Yeah.
And they still wouldn't be able to be a market leader in the way we're product first because not even I as the CEO can do what I do here in that environment.
Sure.
And what people don't understand is it's not one person that's contributing or carrying the ship. It's in well-rounded organizations, it's the perfect recipe.
Yeah.
And every person is just an ingredient to that recipe, right?
Yeah.
So when people are like, oh, well, if I hire an Albi account executive, they'll know everything. Yep, they know everything. They know the SOPs. They know a lot of information, a lot of proprietary information. But that environment does not exist. Or when people steal from Rum Xterra or whatever, like the Rum Xterra GM, for example, left and started his own thing and probably won't be able to replicate Rum Xterra.
Yeah.
Because it's the environment, it's the conglomerate of all the different people, all the different skill sets, the way the PMs deliver. It's like a whole symphony. And even if you know how that symphony plays and you know the SOPs on how it's built, there's something special in every organization.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
But
yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's that'll be a fun one. Okay, part 2.
Cool. So we'll do part 2. Yeah. Done. You'll send me that link and we'll put it in the bio. So guys in the chatty chat, well, not chatty chat, we're not live here. In the bio down below, comment below if you're interested. And yeah, man.
Dude, I almost don't want this to end, man. This is so cool. We got the wind blowing through the palm trees here.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's
but I am kind of hungry.
Quite the spot. Are we pushing up? Okay, we talked longer than we planned on, huh?
Yeah.
We're
gonna go to dinner time.
Yeah.
So, but cool, man. We'll see you in Nashville at the next one. And yeah, let's enjoy this view.